I want to be your manager.
If you've ever had a conversation with me, then you are well aware that I am obsessed with Rocky. Released in 1977, directed by John G. Alvested, Rocky has been called the most influential boxing movie ever, the character even being inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Rocky is so influential in large part due to its editing, specifically its revolutionary implementation of the montage training sequence. However, there are more techniques implemented throughout the film. I read the editing choices as having two primary goals, all of which serve to 1. Link the editing, shot type and pace to Rocky's psychology. 2. To heighten the dramatic significance of the montage. The techniques I will examine are the use of juxtaposing pace, parallel editing, and of course the montage itself. Rocky is a film about a man and his struggle.
I want to know for the first time in my life, see? That I weren't just another bum from the neighborhood.
This moment encapsulates his struggle, and Rocky's struggle is most perfectly distilled in the montage. Rocky can be most fruitfully talked about in relation to this montage, as this moment signals a stylistic change. Rocky is focused and dedicated. I will expand upon this more in part 2. I will use montage and its terms in relation to Eisenstein's work, metric and rhythmic montage. The implementation of metric montage intends to elevate Bill Conti's incredible score, cutting in line with the tempo on the second, fourth beat. This draws the viewer in, as ears are engaged by the brilliance and the feel of the music, and the eyes build upon these sensations with an equally amped up visuals. Testament to this, the speed changes with the introduction of the guitar solo. Following and cutting to the emotional and rhythmic dictations of the music. The second aspect, rhythmic, combines with this to create a sense of flow between shots. Let your eyes follow Rocky. As he runs, his hands move up and down. Now, follow that similar vertical motion, both sharing relative screen space. This technique is more heavily developed later in the franchise. For instance, Rocky 2, Rocky 3. Look at how the things move. The cumulative effect of these techniques is to engage the viewer, adding anticipation for the big fight, and building hope that Rocky might actually win. It is thus the case that the combination of metric and rhythmic montage creates a smoothness to these shots, keeping a flow between them, engaging the audience the whole time. An additional facet of the montage is the compression of time and building pace. The montage's use serves a narrative purpose in showing how hard the work is for Rocky and his subsequent development. Impactfully, the montage creates a sense of passing time. The use of this technique prevents any jarring disengagement as a result of confusion. The choice to play these images against one another, creating narrative via montage, allowing the viewer to create their own story in between these images. In summary, the montage is not only visually engaging, but also compresses time, preserving pace. However, before the montage sequence even begins, 90 minutes of a 119-minute runtime has already passed, and the film up to this point is consistent of long, slow cuts. Here, editing is used to build a psychological identification with an understanding of Rocky. In these sections, Rocky is lost, breaking fingers for a two-bit mob boss, getting beaten up at the weekend. He is directionless and unfocused, and the editing creates this visually. Lingering, slow shots combine to create this almost aimless pace, which is experienced by the viewer. The intent of this languid editing is to create a parallel between the emotional state of Rocky Balboa and the technical execution of the film. This connects style and psychology. When it is aimless, so is he. When it is focused, so is he. Mise-en-scène also illustrates this. Really, any cut from the first 90 minutes combined with the last 30 minutes actually illustrates this point quite well, but the film is bookmarked by 2 boxing matches. In the first fight, it begins with a still camera which slowly zooms outward. This becomes a master, and this takes 36 seconds to cut to a close mid. Comparatively, the focused Rocky at the end cuts after only 6 seconds, and this to a close-up, with occasional mid. Subsequent cuts develop this. 2 very different styles illustrating 2 very different mindsets, and the switch is dictated by the montage, drawing so much significance to it. So we see that this style of slow, methodical editing, switching from the fast, choppy style, transitioning via the montage, is an emotionally successful attempt to link the editing and the character. So when a change occurs in style, we as the audience understand, and ultimately the narrative is elevated. The final technique core to the film is parallel editing. Parallel editing serves narrative purpose here, specifically allowing for the piece to have some grounding in reality. One scene where Rocky trains in a meat freezer is juxtaposed with Apollo Creed doing business.
Do you want to run the 15 radio spots in the Midwest? I think you could spend your money better in Canadian publicity.
This implicitly creates the narrative in the viewer's mind of the hungry underdog giving it all he has compared to the overconfident champion. This allows for a suspension of disbelief, as Apollo is significantly better than Rocky in every sense, but with the inclusion of these moments that parallel his unfocusedness and Rocky's focus, it allows the viewer to buy into this. In conclusion, the editing in Rocky has been so influential in not only sports movies, but also film generally, contrasting the slow, lingering first half with a cut-heavy second demonstrates the character's progression. The use of parallel editing aids in believability, altering and fleshing out the narrative. Finally, all this directly and indirectly adds to the stylish final montage which compresses time whilst maintaining the pace in a visually stimulating manner. My own reading of all these techniques is I see Rocky as a film that builds to a moment. This incredible emotional moment that never fails to make me cry. And I believe that the editing, the juxtaposition of this slow pace and that brilliant montage which draws the viewer in, makes this one of the greatest scenes in cinema history. And, I love this film.